the time I'm waiting you to answer the phone. Nothing seems to happen but...
Hello and welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie. Jill and I have our snow hats on today because we're kicking off winter reading program. Instead of bingo like some previous years, this year we're playing Monopoly. So we have a Monopoly board for kids, for teens, and for adults. And you just have to follow the instructions on the board, complete the activities. If you get 4 of one color, it's a Monopoly, and you can come to the library and gain an entry for a grand prize raffles. And there's some trivia slips for the adults this year. There's guess how many for the kiddos. So stop on in and pick up a winter reading program Monopoly board.
Easy to sign up for that.
This week for Friday Reads, we are featuring some books that our patrons recommend to us. Some of these came from our previous videos, and some are from our patrons who say, hey, this is one of the best books I've read. So Jill and I are going with patron picks this week, so I'll turn it to Jill for her first pick.
So my first pick was for the thriller lovers out there, there's a lot of you. Children on the Hill by Jennifer McMahon. This is inspired by Mary Shelley's masterpiece Frankenstein, which brilliantly explores eerie mysteries of childhood and the evils perpetuated by the monsters among us. 1978, at a renowned treatment center in picturesque Vermont, the brilliant psychiatrist Dr. Helen Hildreth is acclaimed for her compassionate work with the mentally ill. But when she's home with her cherished grandchildren, V and Eric, she's just grand, teaching them how to take care of their pets, preparing them for home-cooked meals, providing them with care and attention and love. Then one day, Gran brings home a child to stay with the family. Iris, silent, hollow-eyed, skittish, and feral, does not behave like a normal girl. Still, Violet is thrilled to have a new playmate. She and Eric invite Iris to join their monster club, where they catalog all kinds of monsters and dream up ways to defeat them. Before long, Iris begins to come out of her shell. She and V and Eric do everything together, ride their bicycles, go to the drive-in, meet at the clubhouse in secret to hunt monsters, because, as V explains, monsters are everywhere. 2019, Lizzie Shelley, the host of the popular podcast Monsters Among Us, is traveling to Vermont, where a young girl has been abducted and a monster sighting has the town in an uproar. She's determined to hunt it down because Lizzie knows better than anyone that monsters are real, and one of them is her very own sister. So,
oh, gosh.
So, this is my first patron recommendation.
A thriller pick. My first pick is a series pick, and this is her Royal Spyness series by Rice Bowen. The first book was published back in 2007. Georgie, a.k.a. Lady Victoria Georgiana Charlotte Eugenie, that's a mouthful, cousin of King George V of England, is penniless and trying to survive on her own as an ordinary person in London in 1932. So far, she's managed to light a fire and boil an egg. She's gate-crashed a wedding, she's making money by secretly cleaning houses, and she's been asked to spy for Her Majesty the Queen. Everything seems to be going swimmingly until she finds a body in her bathtub, and someone is definitely trying to kill her. As I mentioned, it's the first book in the series. It has 16 primary works. There's a prequel that came out in 2012 called Masked Ball at Broxley Manor, which is an additional book. But the author of this series describes this series as lighter, sexier, funnier, and full of wicked satire. So, thanks for the recommendation, Quinn.
My next one is The Candy House by Jennifer Egan. I don't know who recommended this. It was at the desk. Somebody liked it. This is a novel about the quest for authenticity, privacy, and meaning in a world where our memories are no longer our own, featuring characters from A Visit from the Goon Squad, which also by Jennifer Egan. It's 2010. Staggeringly successful and brilliant tech entrepreneur Bix Boughton is desperate for a new idea. He's 40 with 4 kids and restless when he stumbles into a conversation with mostly Columbia professors, one of whom is experimenting with downloading or externalizing memory. Within a decade, Bix's new technology, Own Your Unconscious, that allows you to access every memory you've ever had and to share every memory in exchange for access to the memories of others, has seduced multitudes, but not everyone. The author spins out the consequences of Own Your Own Unconscious through the lives of multiple characters whose paths intersect over several decades. Egan introduces these characters in an astonishing array of styles, from omniscient to first-person plural to duet of voices, an epistolary chapter, and a chapter of just tweets. So, with the focus on social media, gaming, and alternate worlds, you can almost experience moving among the dimensions in a role-playing game. So, very techy.
Have you read her books at all?
I've read for the Goon Squad, and I really liked it.
Okay, I've been looking at her for the short story group. She's been coming up on some of my lists. So, my second pick is Murder with Peacocks by Donna Andrews. The first book in this was published back in 1999, and this pick comes from Nelda. 3 weddings and a murder. So far, Meg's summer is not going swimmingly. Down in her small Virginia hometown, she's maid of honor at the nuptials of 3 loved ones, each of whom has dumped the planning in her capable hands. One bride is set on including a Native American herbal purification ceremony, while another wants live peacocks on the lawn. So, only help from the town's drop-dead gorgeous hunk, disappointingly rumored to be gay, keeps Meg afloat in a sea of dotty relatives and outrageous neighbors. And in whirl of summer parties and picnics, Southern hospitality is strained to the limit by an offensive newcomer who hints at skeletons in the guests' closets. But it seems this lady has offended one too many when she's found dead in suspicious circumstances, followed by a string of accidents, some which are fatal. Soon, level-headed Meg's to-do list extends from flower arrangements and bridal registries to catching a killer before the next catered event is her own funeral. Our main character is a successful decorative blacksmith and an exceptional amateur sleuth. The series is set in Yorktown, Virginia, and it won the Lefty Award for Funniest Mystery of 1999. The series actually is still going strong. Her latest work, Birder, She Wrote, has an expected publication date of August 2023. So, thanks for the recommendation, Nelda. Murder with Peacock, the Meg Lanslow series.
I feel like our patrons are really good with the cozy mysteries.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one, this author is often suggested. This is the first in a series. It's called The Water Keeper by Charles Martin. It's a Murphy Shepard mystery or something. Murphy Shepard is a man with many secrets. He lives alone on an island, tending to the grounds of a church with no parishioners, and he's dedicated his life to rescuing those in peril. But as he mourns the loss of his mentor and friend, Murph himself may be more than lost than he realizes. When he pulls a beautiful woman named Summer out of Florida's intercoastal waterway, Murph's mission to lay his mentor to rest at the end of the world takes a dangerous turn. Drawn to Summer and desperate to find her missing daughter, Murph is pulled deeper and deeper in the dark and dangerous world of modern-day slavery. With the help of some unexpected new friends, including a faithful Labrador he plucks from the ocean and an ex-convict named Clay, Murph must race against the clock to locate a girl before he's consumed with the secrets of his past and the ghosts that try to bury him. With Martin's trademark lyricism and poignant prose, The Waterkeeper is as once a tender love story, a heart-rending search for freedom, and a reminder that the needs of one can outweigh those of 99. And a reminder of you don't know what you're going to pull out of the ocean because this guy's pulled out a dog and a girl.
Oh, my. Oh, goodness. Third pick is Ellen Hildebrand's Hotel Nantucket, which was just published last year. This was one of the books I read. I really enjoyed this. This pick comes from Stacy. After a tragic fire in 1922 that killed 19-year-old chambermaid Grace Hadley, the Hotel Nantucket descended from a Gilded Age gem to a mediocre, budget-friendly lodge to an inevitably an abandoned eyesore, until it's purchased and renovated top to bottom by London billionaire Xavier Darling. Xavier hires Nantucket sweetheart Lisbeth Keaton as his general manager, and Lisbeth, in turn, pulls together a charismatic, although inexperienced staff who share the vision of turning the fate of the hotel around. They face challenges in getting along with one another and with the guests, in overcoming the hotel's bad reputation, and in surviving the mostly harmless shenanigans of Grace Hadley herself, who won't stop haunting this hotel until her murder is acknowledged. It's filled with emotional tension and multiple points of view that characterize this author's books. She's the author of The Blue Bistro, Golden Girl. We've got a lot of her books on our shelves, as well as it has an added touch of historical reality. So it offered something for everyone in this summer drama for the ages. So thanks for the recommendation, Stacy.
This next pick was a from the desk again, which is funny because we don't own this book in this library. I had to get it from another library. There's only like 3 copies, and I think at least 2 or 3 people have suggested this book. So it's The Patron Saint of Second Chances by Christine Simon. The self-appointed mayor of a tiny Italian village is determined to save his hometown no matter the cost of this charming, hilarious, and heartwarming debut novel. I love debut novels, so that's great. Vacuum repairman and self-appointed mayor of Prometto, Italy, population 212, Signor Speranza has a problem. Unless he can come up with 70,000 euros to fix the town's pipes, the water commission will shut off the water to the village and all its residents will be forced to disperse. So in a bid to boost tourism and revenue, he spreads a harmless rumor that the movie star Dante Rinaldi will be filming his next project nearby. Unfortunately, the plan works a little too well, and soon everyone in town wants to be part of the fictional film. The village butcher will throw in some money if Speranza can find roles for his 15 enormous sons. Speranza's wistful adrift daughter reveals an unexpected interest in stage makeup, and his hapless assistant Smilzo volunteers a screenplay that's not so secretly based on his undying love for the film's leading lady. To his surprise and considerable consternation, Speranza realizes the only way to keep up with the ruse is to make the movie for real. As the entire town becomes involved, even the village priest invests, Signor Speranza starts to think he might be able to pull this off. But what happens when Dante Rinaldo doesn't show up? Or worse, what if he does? So I've heard this is the perfect book for friends of Frederick Bachman and Maria Semple. So kind of that tongue-in-cheek
I like
thing.
both those authors. My next pick is also for fans of Frederick Bachman, actually. And this is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, and also a debut novel. So in this one, after Tova Sullivan's husband died, she began working the night shift at the Sowell Bay Aquarium, mopping floors and tidying up. Keeping busy has always helped her cope, which she's been doing since her 18-year-old son Eric mysteriously vanished on a boat in Puget Sound over 30 years ago. Tova became acquainted with curmudgeonly Marcellus, a giant Pacific octopus living at the aquarium. Marcellus knows more than anyone can imagine, but wouldn't dream of lifting one of his 8 arms for his human captors until he forms a remarkable friendship with Tova. Ever the detective, Marcellus deduces what happened the night Tova's son disappeared. And now he must use every trick his old invertebrate body can muster to unearth the truth for her before it's too late. This book is a gentle reminder that sometimes taking a hard look at the past can uncover a future that once felt impossible. So I just started reading this book. I'm only about a third of the way through. So far I'm enjoying it. So thanks for the recommendation, Marcia S. A debut book, Remarkably Bright Creatures.
With an octopus. That's great. Still on Frederick Bachman. I think this was a suggestion when we did senior characters. The Secret Diary of Henrik Groen, 83 and 1/4 years old, by Henrik Groen and Hester Relmans. A #1 international bestseller in the vein of Frederick Bachman's A Man Called Ove, an irresistible, funny, charming, and tender-hearted tale about friendship, love, and an old man who is young at heart. Technically speaking, Hendrik Groen is elderly, but at age 83 and 1/4, this feisty, indomitable curmudgeon has no plans to go out quietly. Bored of weak tea and potted geraniums, exasperated by the indignities of aging, Henrik has decided to rebel on his own terms. He begins writing an expose, secretly recording the antics of day-to-day life in his retirement home, where he refuses to take himself and his fellow inmates too seriously. With an eccentric group of friends, he founds the wickedly anarchist Old But Not Dead Club. Rule number 3, no whining allowed. And he and his best friend Evert gleefully stir up trouble, enraging the home's humorless director and turning themselves into unlikely heroes. And when a sweet and sassy widow moves in next door, he polishes his shoes, grooms what's left of his hair, and determines to savor every ounce of joy in the time he has left, with hilarious and tender consequences. So, hijinks in the nursing home.
I read that one. I actually like that book.
Super.
I think I read that when we did our senior picks. So, my last pick is The Perfume Collector by Kathleen Tesaro. This was published back in 2013. It's a remarkable novel about secrets, desire, memory, passion, and possibility. Newlywed Grace Monroe doesn't fit anyone's expectations of a successful 1950s London socialite, least of all her own. When she receives an unexpected inheritance from a complete stranger, Grace is drawn to uncover the identity of her mysterious benefactor. Weaving through the decades from 1920s New York to Monte Carlo, Paris, London. The story Grace uncovers is that of an extraordinary woman who inspired one of Paris's greatest perfumers. Immortalized in 3 evocative perfumes, Eva's history will transform Grace's life forever, forcing her to choose between the woman she's expected to be and the person she really is. This book explores the complex and obsessive love between muse and artist and the tremendous power of memory and scent. There's a quote by this author that I like, which says, "If you can capture a woman's imagination, then you will have her. But imagination is a strange creature. It needs time and distance to function properly." So, thanks for the recommendation, Aurelia. The Perfume Collector by Kathleen Tesaro.
Well, we hope we helped you find something to read from other readers.
From our patron picks. Stop in, get a Monopoly sheet for us. Our winter reading program runs until February 25th this year. We just kicked off this week, so stop in anytime. Stop at the desk and pick up your board. We thank you for watching our video. Like, comment, share. If you've got some favorite books, you might end up in our next patron picks video. So until then, thanks for watching.
Bye.